So, good morning, good afternoon, evening, listeners. Welcome to another video topic. And today we're going to be talking about the Earth's interior and geologic processes. But a lot of this topic will be focusing on the geologic timescale or the timeline of the Earth when it was made and how it's doing as of the moment. So, okay, so papansin natin medyo parang lumulutang na ulo na si Sir kasi itim yung suot niya eh. TOS Scholar. Okay. Okay, so before we start, I am going to share this QR code for a. This will redirect you to a link, and we will use that link to focus on the geologic timescales that we have. Dahil itong kung iisa-isahin kasi talaga natin yung kung magfo-focus talaga tayo sa geologic timescales and yung sa mga certain events na meron sa kada division ng paghahati ng ng time scale or specific events, it we will take a while. Siguro hindi kakayanin to ng isang oras lang, ano? So, this QR code will help us with the topic for today, ano? Okay. So, for this session, we will understand Earth's internal structure, explain plate movement, and connect plate tectonic movements to mountain, volcanoes, and earthquakes, as well as kung paano po kung merong yung sa formation po na tinatawag natin. Pero before that, a lot of this a lot of this session we will be focusing on what we call the geologic time scale, or it kind of acts like a timeline dun sa ating planeta. No? Okay, so geologic time scale refers to the Earth's chronological history, organizing 4.6 billion years into eons, eras, periods, epochs, and ages, based on major geological and biological events like mass extinctions and evolutionary changes. So kada organization po ng 4.6 billion years ng ating planeta, hindi naman po kasi natin parang pwedeng isa-isahin ngayon like I've said. So meron po siyang parang categorization into eons, eras, periods, epochs, and ages. Pero okay, so it looks something like this, pero this is actually the simpler one. If idadagdag pa po natin yung age, it's going to be a bit time consuming, no? So for this topic, we will be focusing on the eons and eras. Yung periods po kasi it kind of focuses on the evolution, no, or the evolution of the animals throughout the eras na meron tayo, no. So let's start po muna with the eon. So we will be switching to the geologic timescale whiteboard that I have sent, or yung gamit po yung QR code natin. So, pwede nyo rin pong pakinabangan iyan after ng ating lesson. Ano? Okay. Okay, so this whiteboard, we will be focusing on the eons and the era. So, meron po kasi tayong apat na categorization or categories na kailangan nating mag-focus. Pero in this discussion, we will be only focusing on eons and eras. Okay, so pag sinabi po kasi nating eon, this focuses on a longer time scale in which it focuses on the environment na meron sa Earth, or ano yung mga major environmental changes that happened on Earth. So we will be zooming in on geologic timescales, eon. Okay, so meron po tayong dalawang super eon. Meron po tayong Precambrian eon, and yung isa po is something that I would like to call post-Cambrian eon. Pero the proper term kasi is yung Phanerozoic eon instead of post-Cambrian. Post-Cambrian is a little bit improper kasi, no? Pero ang proper po natin dito is yung Phanerozoic. Okay, so dito po sa geologic time scale ng ating ng eons, magpo-focus po muna tayo dito sa Precambrian super ion, or ito yung hindi naman po Precambrian period ang tama. Precambrian super ion dahil it refers to billions of years na nangyari po sa ating planeta. So hindi po siya maigsing panahon lang, mahabang panahon po siya. And it all started with the Hadean Eon. Okay, so during the Hadean Eon, ito po yung pwede nating matawag na si Earth po ay isa palang proto-planet. So going back to the discussion of how the Earth was formed, it focused on yung tinatawag po nating accretion, no? From the dense dust particles na malapit po sa araw, nagkaroon po tayo ng pagdidikit-dikit ng ating mga dust particles, and eventually lumalaki po siya at nagkakaroon po siya ng gravity at nagiging planeta. Okay, so due to the frequent asteroid impact, ang nangyayari po is yung ating planeta is very it's like a hellscape, no? Na parang ang itsura niya po is imagine hell, and parang ganun po yun. And doon din po nakuha yung pangalan na Hadean. It's like it is derived from the Greek god of the underworld na si Hades, no? And since siya po ang ruler ng underworld, imagine na lang po natin what hell would look like. And ganun po ang parang description ng ating Hadean Eon. Due to the frequent asteroid impacts, very molten pa po yung ating crust, or wala pa po tayong mga tinatawag na parang continents or matatapakan na solid na lupa. Even though terrestrial po, pero this is different po kasi compared natin sa ating mga Jovian planets. The Jovian planets, wala po silang solid surface, meron po silang liquid surface. Tayo po, during this time of the Earth, etong Hadean Eon natin, this is the only time na liquid po yung ating surface. Dahil yung bato po ay liquid, no? And this is not only because of the asteroid impact, pero dahil po since hindi naman natin din pwedeng matawag na volcanic activities, pero it is very similar dahil kumukulo po yung sahig, and it looks like volcanic eruptions. Lagi pong nagre-release ng gases into the atmosphere, and it is also during this time of the Hadean Eon in which two protoplanets, like I've discussed in the previous topic, nagkaroon po ng collision yung ating dalawang protoplanets na si Gaia and Theia, or kumbaga dalawang planets po of the same size, nagkaroon po sila ng collision, and this launched debris. During this collision, this launched debris and formed the moon. So yung mga particles po na tumalsik after the collision, hindi na po sila nahila pabalik into the surface of the Earth, and it just orbited the Earth, and yun po yung naging moon natin. So the next naman po after the Hadean Eon, pupunta naman po tayo sa Archean Eon. Okay, so the Archean Eon, ang nangyayari po dyan is the planet starts to cool down, no? Dahil kumbaga eventually naman po, if papansinin po kasi talaga natin, ang una po talagang titigas, or ang unang dapat parang ma-expose, is nagkakaroon din po siya ng exposure sa gases, kahit yung gases po na yun ay toxic. Since mas malamig po ang temperature ng mga gases, usually yung ating crust po, yung layer ng ating crust, dito na po ito nag-i-start mag-cool down. So during the Archean Eon. And another reason siguro na pwede nating masabi kung bakit nagko-cool down na yung ating crust is because of the accumulation of water on the surface. So there are two theories as to why the water started to appear on the surface. One is the volcanic outgassing. During the volcanic eruptions, magpo-produce po ng mga gases yung mga eruptions na yon. And yung mga gases na rin na iyon po, eventually nagko-condense din po sila into a liquid. So scientists believe that yung liquid po, yung outgassing or yung mga volcanic eruptions po na iyon na nagpo-produce ng gas, eventually yung mga gases po na yun magko-condense into water. And the other theory po is hindi lang po asteroids or mga bato ang tumama sa ating planeta. scientists also believe that water also came from comets. Dahil ang comets naman po is a bit different. Hindi po siya katulad ng ating mga asteroids. These are mostly made out of ice and dust. So yung ice po na yun, once they've entered our atmosphere, nalusaw, tumama po, at it provided water. And since nagkakaroon na po tayo ng cooling down of our crust, from the liquid lava or the molten floors, since during the Hadean Eon, wala pa po tayong solid na surface. Ito po, during the Archean Eon naman po, ito na po yung time na parang nagkakaroon na po ng cooling down of the crust, and dito po yung nagfo-form yung tinatawag natin na cratons. So the cratons, these are the part of the crust in which it started to solidify. Ito na po yung part of the crust, since imagine an ocean of lava, pero meron pong isang malaking parang chunk po ng lupa na yun po or chunk ng lava, since liquid po yun, bigla po siyang tumigas or nag-freeze. So eventually po, kumbaga, I want you to imagine an ice cube melting, 'di ba? Yung malaki po yung size niya, then eventually lumiliit. Now, that is because parang naiinitan na yung ice cube and eventually nalulusaw. Pero pag i-reverse po natin yon, tigtigas naman po yung ice, and kumbaga lalaki po uli siya in size. Pero probably not, pero parang ganun po ang tsura siguro during the formation of our cratons. No? So ang nangyayari po dyan is that yung maliit po na chunk, the layers of lava around it, or yung mga nasa edges po, also started cooling down. So ito po yung one of the oldest, dito po tayo makakahanap na one of the oldest rocks sa ating mga continental plates. It is doon po sa mga cratons natin. And next naman po, during the Archean Eon, dito na rin po nahanap ng ating mga scientists yung the earliest signs of life. Ito po yung tinatawag nating mga stromatolites. Yung mga stromatolites po, these are parang microbial mats, or parang kumbaga po, parang titingnan po kasi natin ang itsura ng stromatolites ngayon, it looks like parang bato po siya na mukhang basahan, pero layer and layer po siya. And these are formed by cyanobacteria. Now, how did cyanobacteria even form? So, ang paniniwala po ng mga nakaramihan ng mga scientists po is yung tinatawag po nating primordial soup theory. So, ang ating planeta po, meron na po tayong water, and meron po tayong volcanic activities, meron po tayong mga meteors na tumatama, and they believe that the chemicals interacted with those kind of energy. Yung heat nanggagaling sa volcanic activity natin, yung radiation na nanggagaling sa araw, and even yung mga minerals natin, because there's a lot of minerals na radioactive, no? And yung mga chemicals po na yun, once they've interacted with these kinds of radiation and this kind of energy, it produced complex organic compounds. And yung mga organic compounds po na yun, they are the basis for life. Diyan po magagaling yung dito na po nagsimula yung ating pagbuo ng mga simple single-celled organisms. Dito po nanggaling sa mga organic compounds natin. And last po, after ng ating Archean Eon, dito naman po tayo sa ating Proterozoic Eon. Okay, so ang nangyari naman po dito is that cyanobacteria grew in population and evolved. So again, cyanobacteria, they are single-celled organisms lang po. Wala pa po tayong multicellular organisms dito. Ang meron lang po tayo ay yung cyanobacteria. Now, the thing about cyanobacteria is that they produce oxygen. And a lot of other cells a lot of other single-celled organisms during that time, hindi po nila napapakinabangan ang oxygen. And ang nangyari po niyan is nagkaroon po ng concentration of oxygen in the ocean. And eventually, sa sobrang dami na rin po ng oxygen sa ocean, it also produced a concentration of oxygen in the atmosphere. So yung mga other organisms po na hindi cyanobacteria, na hindi naman nangangailangan ng oxygen, namatay po. ang dami pong mga namatay na mga single-celled organisms during this time. Pero yung mga nakasurvive po, even though sabihin natin maraming namatay, pero ngayon po konti na lang, yung mga nakasurvive po, they found a way to use oxygen to survive. Kaya ngayon dito na po nagsimula yung mga tinatawag natin mga aerobic respiration. And dito na rin po nagkaroon ng tinatawag natin na mga prokaryotes. Because back then, itong mga cyanobacteria natin at saka yung mga other mga single-celled organisms natin na namatay, wala pa po, lahat po sila ay prokaryotes. Pero after pong makasurvive ng mga prokaryotes na hindi sila namatay doon sa great oxygenation event na yon, they've developed a way to protect their DNA or their genetic material. Ito na po yung tinatawag natin na eukaryotes. And after this naman pong na meron na tayong eukaryotes, nagkakaroon din po tayo ng tinatawag natin na endosymbiosis. Now, in which nagtutulungan po yung simple na single-celled organisms na merong as long as kaya nilang protektahan yung genetic material nila, pwede po sila makipagtulungan with the other cells. So kumbaga po, nagkakaroon na po tayo ng tinatawag nating mga organelles. Dahil ito pong endosymbiosis theory, believe that the organelles of our cells came from different organisms. That na yung mga organelles daw natin, separate being daw po siya. And eventually na parang yung term natin dito is parang kinain or inabsorb siya ng isa pang cell, pero hindi naman siya namatay dahil may pakinabang siya para doon sa mas malaking cell na yon. And ito na po yung nagkaroon ng medyo complex way or complex internal structure. And eventually po, since marami na pong functions na pwedeng gawin itong cells natin dahil meron na tayong endosymbiosis or meron na tayong multiple cells inside of a cell, marami na siyang pwedeng magawa and nakakapag-communicate na rin po siya with other cells without absorbing it through endosymbiosis. Ito na po yung tinatawag natin mga multicellular organisms. Dito na po nagsimula yung ating mga multicellular organisms. Okay, so going back, Hadean Eon, wala pa po tayong kahit anong life forms dito. The Earth is very toxic, out of volcanic activities. Yung mga volcanic activities na yun, nagpo-produce din po siya ng mga gases na hindi ganun kaganda para sa life to actually flourish. Frequent asteroid impacts and yung tinatawag nga nating collision of the two protoplanets Gaia and Theia, which created the moon. So hindi pa po solid ang surface during the Hadean Era. It's all molten. But during the Archean Era, lumamig naman po yung ating planeta at nagkaroon na po tayo ng cratons or ito po yung pinagmulan ng ating mga continents eventually. Water starts to accumulate dahil yung mga nai-produce po na gases ng ating volcanic activities starts condensing. And scientists also believed that yung ating mga na may mga comets din daw po nakasama sa pagpo-produce po ng water dito sa ating planeta. And since meron na po tayong water and since meron na po tayong mga solid surface, nagkaroon din po tayo ng first signs of life. Although very simple pa lang po talaga to. Meron lang po siyang something to protect the genetic material inside. Wala pa pong halos function talaga yung genetic material inside but to reproduce. Kung hindi ka makakasurvive, yung makakasurvive, they're trying to find a way in which they're going to pass their genetic material dahil, hey, ako yung nakasurvive. So, yung primordial soup theory po came, yung mga chemicals na andun sa dagat natin, yung chemicals na yung interacts with the heat of the volcano, UV radiation from the sun, as well as yung radioactive materials na nanggagaling doon sa ating mga bato. And eventually, after this interaction with the chemicals and the radiation, they've produced complex organic compounds. And yung organic compounds po na yan, they've produced simple single-celled organisms. But although they are prokaryotes. So, Proterozoic Eon, yung cyanobacteria po, they grew into population and evolved photosynthetic abilities. Dati po, single-celled organisms lang po sila, hindi po sila tinatawag talaga na cyanobacteria. Sinama ko lang po dito sa Archean Aeon yung stromatolites dahil they are the earliest kinds o they are the earliest fossils na meron po tayo. Pero this is the transition po from yung stromatolites po, transition siya into Proterozoic. So, meron na po tayong mga stromatolites or yung specifically yung mga cyanobacteria natin. After po nun, they've evolved photosynthetic abilities in which they produce oxygen na. Kaya na nilang kumuha ng energy from the sun and gagawin nilang oxygen yon. A lot of the organisms didn't like that and they died. After they die, the one who survived, they found a way to use the oxygen. And ganun po ang nangyari. And they started to develop complex internals. Naglagay po sila ng extra layer of protection specifically for the genetic material, and ito na po yung tinatawag nating eukaryotes instead of prokaryotes dahil meron na pong protection yung kanilang nucleus na tinatawag. And next is yung endosymbiosis. Other cells help each other, pero yung the smaller cells go inside the bigger cell, and since may pakinabang siya, ang ginagawa po is nagtutulungan po silang dalawa. And since meron na po tayong cooperation within both cells, ito na po yung time na nagko-communicate yung cell, kaya na po nila mag-communicate with the organelles na tinatawag na natin, and kaya na rin po nilang mag-communicate with other cells outside even though hindi nila ina-absorb. Kaya nagkakaroon na po tayo ng multicellular organism. So, since meron na po tayong multicellular organism after endosymbiosis, meron na tayong complex na single-celled organism. Now, introduce another cell and kaya niya rin po makipag-communicate with that other cell, multicellular organism, and papasok na po tayo sa post-Cambrian or yung tinatawag po natin na Phanerozoic Aeon. Dito na po yung tinatawag natin na Cambrian explosion. Nag-experiment po si Mother Nature with different kinds of body design. So, ito po yung Phanerozoic Aeon. Okay. Next naman po is dito naman po tayo sa geologic timescale era. So, kung last time po is eons, kung papansinin po natin, ang pagitan po nila is halos billions of years. Ang Hadean Aeon, 4.57 hanggang 4 billion years, lumalabas na parang 500 million years yung tagal niya. Then si Archean Aeon po, 4 billion to 2.5 billion years ago. So, tumagal po ng halos 1.5 billion years. And then, Proterozoic Aeon, 2.5 to 541 million years. Matagal-tagal po yung time scale niya. Pero kung titignan po natin kay era, hindi naman po siya ganong kalaki. Ang focus naman po kasi ni era is instead of yung conditions po ng Earth, kung titignan po kasi natin, ang pinakang huling event doon sa ating mga eons is yung Phanerozoic Aeon. Yung tinatawag natin na post-Cambrian super Aeon or yung Cambrian explosion. So, doon po nagsimula yung ating geologic era starting with the Paleozoic era. Okay, so ang Paleozoic era po, okay, so the Paleozoic era, ang nangyari po dito is that meron po tayong assembly of the ang isa pong nangyari dito is yung assembly of the supercontinent Pangaea. Just a clarification, hindi po si Pangaea ang unang continent na nabuo. There were a lot of other continents that came before, pero si Pangaea po yung pinakang famous natin. No? Yung mga cratons po natin, lumaki siya ng lumaki, and eventually po nagkaroon po tayo ng super volcano. Okay. So, the Cambrian explosion po, nature experimented with various body designs to see which one is the best. So, kung baga since meron na tayong multicellular organisms, yung one cell could communicate with the other and help each other. So, ano po again, ang group of cells, tissue. So, yung tissue kaya niya makipag-communicate with other tissues. Anong ibig sabihin ng combination group of tissues? organ. Yung isang organ, kailangan niya ng help with another organ. Magtutulungan po sila. That's called an organ system. A group of organ system working together is an organism. Ganun po ang nangyayari dyan. So, we have organisms na po talaga. Proper organisms na hindi lang po tayo cells, no? Kumbaga, ito na po yung very, very complex design. Pero yung itsura po ng katawan and how they will function is very experimental pa. Naghahanap po si Mother Nature ng anong magandang design na yun tatagal. So, yun po yung nangyari dyan. So, meron na po tayong ito po yung tinatawag natin mga aerobic organisms, no? Kailangan na po nila ng oxygen kahit paano. So, the animals move onto land dahil a lot of these time po na nag-experiment po si Mother Nature with body or with various body designs. A lot of it happened in the water. Life happened on water first. Pero as time developed po kasi, plants moved into, nangyari po kasi niyan, plants moved into the land. And after po nilang mag-move into the land, nagkaroon po ng oxygenation sa atmosphere. So, ang nangyari po kasi niyan is, nung una, si ocean lang po yung maraming oxygen. Si atmosphere, not so much. Meron, pero hindi ganun kadami. Then, plants moved into land. Dati nasa dagat lang din po sila, pero ngayon, nasa lupa na rin sila. Kaya na rin po nilang mag-produce ng oxygen gas. So, what happened? Since meron na rin available na oxygen gas in land, animals also started to move in land. So, ang nangyari po dyan is that since there are more available na oxygen, nature developed lungs instead of gills. Then, after po nyan, ang una pong kinds of tinatawag nating animals na napunta sa land, tinatawag nating mga amphibian. Ito pong mga amphibians is they spend a lot of time or they spend half of their lives on water. Tapos if they're trying to reproduce, mangingitlog, kailangan nilang mapisa. And after po nilang mapisa, magde-develop po sila. They do that in water. And only after they're ready, they will go to land. Kung kaya na nila. Pero after po nun, ang ginawa ng Mother Nature, they've tried to produce the same kind of environment pero within a shell. So ito na po yung evolution of reptiles. Because kung papansin po natin, yung ating mga amphibians like frogs, they lay their eggs on water. And when they lay their eggs on water po, they will hatch, magiging tadpoles po sila, pero they're still on water. Only then if they grew legs, saka lang po sila pupunta sa lupa. And ito po mga reptiles, ang ginawa po nila is they've developed an egg na matigas po yung shell. Tapos yung shell po within the egg, andito po yung very similar na environment sa katulad po sa tubig, no? It nourishes them until they're ready. So nagdevelop na po yung kanilang mga body parts properly. So once they came out of the egg, kaya na po nilang makasurvive. So yun po yung first hard shell natin na egg. Yung nagaling po siya sa ating mga reptiles. That is the Paleozoic era. Then next po niyan is yung Mesozoic era. So ang nangyari po niyan is nagkaroon po tayo ng a very extreme volcanic event. So ayun pala, hindi ko na isama dito. Ito po kasi yung end ng Paleozoic era and start ng Mesozoic era. So marami na po tayong mga animals. Marami na po tayong mga animals dito sa surface. Merong animals sa dagat, may animals dito sa lupa. Pero kung titignan po kasi natin yung crust ng ating planeta, hindi pa po siya ganun kakapal. Kasi as it cools down, kumakapal po ng kumakapal yan. Pero during this time, hindi pa po ganun kakapal yung ating crust. And there's a lot of volcanic activities going on. And this changed the atmosphere, or it's another time na nag-produce na naman po ng toxic gases yung ating mga volcanoes, and nagkaroon po tayo ng parang climate change kumbaga. And a lot of the animals during this time of the Paleozoic era died. So nagkaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na Permian-Triassic extinction. A lot of the a lot of this died. Pero ang mga nabuhay po dito during this time is yung mga reptiles. So, during the Mesozoic era, ito na po, it gave rise to the dinosaurs. Now, since nakasurvive po yung mga ancestors nila during the extreme volcanic activity, yung mga traits po ni ancestor na ipasa dun sa offspring, and ganun po yung nangyari. Now, since there's a lot of available plants on the surface, nagkaroon po tayo ng mga herbivores na dinosaur. Then eventually po, nag-develop na naman panibagong experimental body si Mother Nature. What if instead of halaman ang kakainin ko, kakain ako ng ibang hayop, 'di ba? So ayun, meron na tayo mga carnivores. And so ito po yung rise of the dinosaurs. This is a era in which yung dinosaurs po walked the earth and they were dominant. No, a lot of the dinosaurs were big, wala silang kaagaw sa oxygen, and yung mga mammals po during this time, meron na po tayong mammals, hindi sila ganong kalaki. No, they were really really small, and they were burrowing underground, they were hiding in caves, they were climbing the trees. No, and they weren't really enough to feed a dinosaur. So ang ginagawa po kasi ng mga carnivorous dinosaurs dati, naghahanap po sila ng ibang ng ibang dinosaur din na hindi papalag sa kanila. And meron din po tayong mga avians or yung mga flying reptiles natin na kayong lumipad, and yun po yung kumbaga another way of surviving or another design na parang it worked. Then isa pa pong nangyari dito during this time is that Pangaea broke up into 7 smaller continents. Then after that, an asteroid, ito na po yung asteroid na pumatay dun sa ating mga dinosaurs. Now, a lot of people believe that it's the asteroid that killed. It is, tama naman, tamang maniwala sila dun. Pero the aftermath also is also responsible for the death, no? Kasi nung tumama po yung asteroid doon dito sa ating planeta, it causes environmental changes. It triggered multiple volcanic eruptions. Tapos during the impact, it produced a lot of debris, and it covered yung mga debris po na yon caused a lot of ashes to cover the sky, which killed the plants. So again, during this time, marami tayong mga dinosaurs na herbivores. And since wala pong sunlight, hindi po nagta-thrive yung ating mga plants, yung mga herbivores natin namatay. Then eventually, yung mga carnivores natin namatay. Pero why do you think na nakasurvive yung ating mga mammals at saka yung mga avians? It's because of their diet and the way they live. Una, itong mga dinosaurs natin, mga herbivores, they were big. And since they got nowhere to hide during the impact or during the major climate change halos, they died. Ganun, and since it caused a chain reaction ng nawawala ng pagkain, pati yung mga carnivorous dinosaur nawalan din ng pagkain. Itong mga mammals po natin, ang kinakain nila is mga buto. Pati po yung mga avians natin, mga ibon, ang kinakain po nila is buto. And usually po kasi, kahit buto lang ang kinakain nila, since sobrang liit po nila, it requires very little energy to operate. Kaya po nilang matulog buong araw to conserve energy, and that's why they survived. And now we are going to the Cenozoic era, in which itong ating mga maliliit na mammals, since they survived, ang nangyari po dito is nagkaroon po tayo ng Cenozoic radiation of mammals. So during this time, katulad po ito ng halos ng Cambrian explosion, except na para naman po ito ay sa mga mammals natin. Dahil po ang daming mga namatay na mga reptiles, it doesn't mean lahat ng reptiles nawala, ha? For example, ang pinakang matandang reptile natin, or may pinakamatandang ancestor na reptile natin, is the crocodile and the alligator. Sila yung pinakang look-alike na mga dinosaurs, and dun din na ibabase ng mga scientists yung probable na itsura ng mga dinosaurs, no? dahil semi-aquatic reptiles sila eh. Hindi katulad po kasi ng amphibian na aquatic then land. Sila po, reptile po sila dahil naglalay po sila ng eggs, pero semi-aquatic sila. Hindi naman sila makonsider na amphibian dahil naglalay sila ng egg na may hard na shell. Tapos, they usually lay it on land as well. So, pero since they spend a lot of time on fresh bodies of water naman po, they survived, no? Pero yung mga terrestrial dinosaurs natin, a lot of them died. Pero yung mga nocturnal mammals natin, yung mga laging nasa ilalim ng lupa, laging nagtatago, laging natutulog, they survived. And nagkaroon po, since ang daming mammals na nag-survive, nagkaroon po tayo ng kailangan natin ng some sort of variation. Nagkaroon na naman po ng panibagong pag-experiment si Mother Nature doon sa mga bodies ng mga mammals na to. And dito na, kumbaga, instead of Cambrian explosion po, ang tawag natin po dito is Cenozoic radiation of mammals. Nagkakaroon po ng panibagong, kumbaga, mga roles in the ecological balance itong ating mga mammals. And another thing that happened during the Cenozoic era is yung ating formation of the Himalayas. Okay, so magagamit po natin itong link na na-provide ni Sir. Dahil itong link po na ito is for free naman yan, ginawa ko talaga yan para sa inyo. No? It provides the details na nangyari during each eon and during each era. Since yun po ang magiging focus ng ating discussion for this topic. Okay. Okay, so that covers the divisions of the geologic time scale. So yun yung mga details natin. So again, the eons refers to the major events that happened in the Earth itself, for the situation and the environment that the Earth has, major changes that happened to it. Now, for the era, it focused on life forms, the major changes in life forms. Okay, so here's a quick rundown of what we've discussed earlier. So we have the eons, or the largest division in the time scale, and happens between millions to billions of years. Okay, so the young Earth, or the Hadean, we don't really have a solid surface yet, despite being a terrestrial planet, dahil nga ang surface natin is molten pa. And dito rin na kikita natin yung collision of Gaia and Theia, in which created the moon. So next is the Archean eon. This was the first. This is the first eon in which we've observed life forms. No, these are still prokaryotes. Hindi nila kaya makipag-communicate with other cells, no, or other life forms. And in this eon, the Earth started cooling down, and because of the water that has been on the surface, naiipon, and through the comets, as well as nagkakaroon din po tayo ng tinatawag nating cratons, in which yung mismong molten na surface is starting to solidify. And nagkakaroon na tayo ng, for the first time, lupa. So yung cratons is where the continents started forming first. Dito natin makikita yung one of the oldest rocks in the continental plates. Okay, next is Proterozoic. Life evolved from cyanobacteria. No, uh, yung cyanobacteria natin, they've discovered, or they've evolved to have photosynthetic abilities, and they've released oxygen into the atmosphere. Now, a lot of the other organisms died, but those that survived, they used it to adapt the oxygen that was produced by the cyanobacteria, and they also started developing complex internal systems, like for example yung gumagamit ka sila ng another membrane to cover or to protect the genetic material, or yung mga DNA and RNA natin. And they've also introduced the idea of, what do you call this, um, endosymbiosis, no? In which they are absorbing other types of similar cells Pero hindi naman nila dinedestroy yon, but they are coexisting. And since ang nangyayari dito ay one cell is living inside another cell, parang they've coexisted, and eventually those cells are what we know now as organelles. And last is the end of the Precambrian period. After that, we have the Phanerozoic. Ito na yung start ng ating Cambrian period, in which na-observe natin yung Cambrian explosion, or since meron tayong organisms na complex enough that they could communicate with other organisms or other similar single-celled organisms na kaya na nilang makabuo ng multicellular organisms. And since they have this ability to communicate and function along each other, nagkaroon si Mother Nature ng experimentation in which what kind of multicellular organism could survive. Okay. So that is the major description ng ating mga eons. Next naman, the era. The era is focused on the changes sa ating life forms. No? Instead of the Earth itself, for example, ating mga yung molten, then nagkaroon tayo ng cooling down, then nagkaroon tayo ng extinction or parang pag-adapt ng mga cells. Then it ended with the Phanerozoic. Yung ating era naman focuses on the Phanerozoic era, since andito na yung ating mga life forms or yung mga complex life forms, no? So andito po papasok yung ating mga extinction events in which nag-fall yung ating a lot of life forms. Then yung mga reptiles na natira, they became the dinosaurs. Then eventually the dinosaurs got extinct because of the meteor impact. Then nagkaroon ng climate change. Then the mammals emerged. So ayun po yung ating era. So what about naman yung tinatawag nating period or yung geologic time scale na period? So ang focus naman ng period is the temperature of the planet, since nagiging vital din kasi ang temperature for survival. Now, meron tayong mga changes kasi, for example is yung ocean chemistry, tumataas yung salinity levels. A lot of the organisms died. Nagkaroon tayo mga ice ages. A lot of the organisms died. They got stuck in the ice. Sea temperature changes. Either they will die or they will try to migrate. Nagkakaroon tayo ng mga migration. Their appearances and disappearances is what marks the periods. So ito naman focuses on parang climate factor. What is happening on the surroundings or the environment, no? And last is the epoch, the smallest geologic time scale, and this is usually marked with global temperatures, ice sheet growth, as well as dominant species in certain areas. One of the reasons kung bakit sinasama natin ng epoch is because nag naoobserbahan din natin kasi na as temperature or as time goes by, tumataas ang temperatures natin, yung dominant species is becoming parang nag-iiba din. This is really observable with bears. No? So, for example, is that grizzly bears, they tend to be bigger because meron silang thick fur at saka thick layers of fat to survive the mga areas malapit sa pole. They're not really polar bears because polar bears is halos kasing laki ng grizzly bears din. Pero they have to have this kind of biology in which kaya nilang mabuhay sa malamig na area. Now, as ice starts to melt, as the regions, yung certain region na yun na usually malamig. Tapos ngayon nagkaroon tayo ng global warming, global temperatures goes up. Ngayon nagkakaroon tayo ng different dominant species na nakikita natin sa area na yun. For example, dati puro grizzly bears doon. Ngayon mga black bears na lang. They're smaller, they're still bears pero hindi ganun kakapal yung fur nila, hindi ganun kalaki yung layer of fat nila. Na kumbaga kaya nilang mamuhay sa medyo mainit na lugar. Tapos the grizzly bears are pushed way, kumbaga medyo nawala na sila doon sa areas na yan. So that is the epoch. And again, time scale din to. And usually mas na-observe natin tong in the modern ages. Okay, so just a recap. So for the eon, it describes the major changes in the Earth's conditions. So from a molten rock, it started cooling down, then it started producing life. Next is era, since Ang era naman, it focuses on the sinasabi ko kanina, post-Cambrian period. So it focuses on what kind of animals were present in that time. No? Dahil we have dahil ang ano natin dito is meron tayong mga mass extinction events. Marami mga dati may ganito, biglang namatay lahat sila. Konti lang na lang nabuhay, so nag-evolve. Then, nag-evolve na, ganito, marami na uli sila, namatay. Then, panibago na naman ang mag-rise. So, that is the focus of the era. Next naman is the period. It focuses on the ecosystem changes dahil nga nagkakaroon ng as time goes by, nagdidrift yung mga plate tectonics natin, nagsasara yung mga land bridges, nalulusaw yung ice caps, tumataas yung salinity ng nagkakaroon din ng pagbabago doon sa kumbaga nagkakaroon din ng some sort of extinction or kumbaga parang migration. And last is a climate shift. The dominant species in the area is shifted as well. Kumbaga as climate shifts as well, kasama na rin doon yung mga ating mga dominant species in an area. Okay, so going back kung i-recall natin ang Hadean Eon, this explains kung bakit nga ba merong layers ang ating Earth. So alam naman natin siguro yung ating main three layers, the core, the mantle, and the crust. Pero syempre, ano pa natin yan, inner core, outer core, mantle, and crust. And this actually explains as to why we have layers. No, kung papansin natin, or yung sinabi ko kanina during the description sa Hadean Eon is that the Earth was molten. For example, maglalagay ako ng isang layer ng bigas sa isang cup. Then, naglalagay ako ng buhangin. Sabihin natin yun yung meron tayong layers. Tapos maglalagay uli ako ng bigas, tapos ng buhangin. Makikita natin nagse-segregate siya. Why? Because that's a solid or they're mainly solids. Pero it's easier for us to have kumbaga mas-segregate yung mga layers based on their density if they are fluids, if they are liquids. And since ang ating planeta back then, nung during the Hadean Eon, yung ating surface is molten, liquid pa siya. So it was easier for objects or for materials that was denser, mostly iron at saka other heavy materials, to sink in the middle or in the bottom. That's what consisted the core. That's what consisted the mantle and the crust. So kumbaga, dahil fluid or dahil liquid pa yung ating surface, it was easier to displace the lighter and the heavier objects. No, nagkakaroon tayo ng segregation. It's because it was liquid. You cannot do that when it was solid. So eventually, just time caught on, and yung mga lumutang na medyo magagaan, andito sila naipon sa surface natin sa crust. No? Okay, so those are the main layers. Then we also have the mechanical layers or yung gumagalaw nating layers, the lithosphere and the asthenosphere. So let's proceed with the plate tectonics since nasabi din natin kanina yung na-mention din natin yung Pangea. So going back in the lesson, we also have what we call cratons. So these cratons, ang nangyari kasi dyan is that as as the cratons cool down, it expands in size. So kumbaga, yung maliit na craton, lumalaki siya because the surrounding of it cools down. And eventually, lumalaki siya ng lumalaki, and eventually we have these huge slabs. Now, so that is what we call the plate tectonics as of now. And meron tayong ilang major plates. Okay, we have the Pacific, North America, South America, Eurasia. Okay, so even though Europe is, part of Europe is a different continent. It's actually a lot of it is actually part of Asia. No, then we have African continent, Antarctica, Indo-Australia because ang Indonesia is part of the Australian tectonic plate and the South American plate. Okay. Now, kung papansinin po natin, we have the mechanical layers. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so papansinin natin meron tayong lithosphere and asthenosphere. So sinabi dito, these are mechanical layers or the layers that moves. So how do they move? Okay, so going back in the lesson, ayan na, babalik na naman, sir. Going back to the lesson of the layers of the atmosphere, I've discussed about heat movement or kung bakit tayo nagkakaroon ng low pressure area. So, pinakita ko nga doon sa lighter na kahit nakatagilid yung lighter, the flame goes up or not, the flame is pointing upward. So, it means air is moving up. So, sinabi ko doon sa lesson na yon that or sa topic na yon that yung warm air above the ocean, once it gets warm enough, it rises up into the atmosphere. So, mas kumbaga, kung same lang yung pressure kanina, but a lot of the air goes upwards now, konti na lang yung matitirang or air pressure dito sa malapit sa surface. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na low pressure area because warm air goes up. But that doesn't only apply to air. It also applies to fluid. It actually applies to fluids. This is what we call convection. Ano? The movement of heat through fluids. So we have here is the lithosphere and the asthenosphere. So the lithosphere is consist of the solid crust natin as well as the upper mantle. Ang upper mantle kasi natin ay medyo matigas na rin. And the asthenosphere or the fluid part. So think of it as like a styrofoam floating on atop of a water. So ganun po yun. The lithosphere is the styrofoam and the asthenosphere is the water. Except that the asthenosphere is very, very viscous. No? Dahil yan ay gawa sa melted na bato, kung titignan mo itsura ng lava, very viscous siya. No? So we have the lithosphere and the asthenosphere. So yung ating lithosphere, this includes itong mga major plates natin. No? Kaya lang natin siya tinawag na plates para alam natin yung mga divisions. Pero kumbaga ito yung mga malalaking chunks. Dito natin makikita yung mga cratons. No? So we have the lithosphere and the asthenosphere. And since lumulutang siya, and meron din tayong movement ng fluid na nasa ilalim ng lithosphere, which is yung asthenosphere, kasama na rin yung outer core since fluid din siya. Ito yung nag-give ng movement dito sa ating asthenosphere, doon sa kung saan nakalutang yung ating lithosphere. No? For example, since mas mainit yung outer core kaysa sa up sa lower mantle, kumbaga nagkakaroon tayo ng upward movement. Nagkakaroon tayo ng some sort of upward movement na nanggagaling siya mula sa outer core papunta naman dito sa ating crust. So tumatagos siya dito sa ating lower mantle papunta sa upper mantle. Kumbaga, hindi steady yung liquid na part ng ating planeta. It's always moving because of the heat. And because of that movement, nagkakaroon din ng movement yung ating lithosphere, yung ating mga plate tectonics. Okay. And etong movement na to, ma-observe din natin dito sa surface. And meron tayong types of plate boundaries or the movement of the tectonic plates relative to each other. The first is the divergent boundaries. The plates move apart. Layo po ang movement nila. The next is the convergent. Nagmo-move po sila towards each other. And last is the transform boundaries. Now, ito pong types of plate boundaries, this happens simultaneously. No? For example, okay, so we have here sabihin na lang natin itong India, yung plate ng India. If it's moving towards Asia right here, okay, so ito yung India. If it's moving towards Asia, so ibig sabihin po, itong part between India and Asia, meron po siyang convergent, nagmo-move sila towards each other. Pero yung nasa may kabilang part po ng plate ng India is moving away naman. So, meron po siyang divergent naman. Divergent boundaries naman yon. Then, yung nasa gilid naman po ng India, that is transform boundaries. So, it's happening simultaneously. Okay. So, ito na lang yung ibibigay kong konting description as to what happens during these types of boundaries. Okay. One, automatic na to is earthquakes, no? As long as magkakaroon tayo ng movement ng ating plates, there's going to be earthquakes, no? Okay. So one, divergent boundaries. No. So itong ating divergent boundaries, we often see this we often observe this at the bottom of the ocean. Kasi meron tayong dalawang klase ng plates. We have the oceanic or oceanic plates and continental plates, no? Ang oceanic plates natin, it is a type of parang craton na lumaki. Pero this type of craton or this type of plate, this type of continent is heavy or it is denser compared natin doon sa ating continental. Okay. So just keep that in mind, okay? So etong divergent boundaries kasi, this happens often under the water. So, ang nangyayari po is they are being pulled apart. So, anong nangyayari if they're being pulled apart? Ibig sabihin, may makikita ka something dapat when they are pulled apart. Naghiwalay sila, parang yung nagbukas. Oh, close, open. Oh, anong nakita mo, si sir? Pero dito naman, pag nagbukas po or naghiwalay yung ating plate boundaries, ang nangyayari po dyan is parang nafi-fill up po siya ng lava. So, ang tawag po natin dito is volcanic ridges, no? Or volcanic arcs. Dahil constantly po siyang nag-e-erupt ng lava or ng magma, and siya po eventually once na since nasa ilalim po siya ng tubig, after niya pong ma-expose sa tubig at lumamig, that's gonna be a new part of the of the ocean floor. Pero ganun po ang nangyayari. Once na maghihiwalay sila, lava goes out in the volcanoes na nito mga parts na to, and it will cool down, it will become part of the ocean floor. Next naman po is convergent boundaries. Now, the convergent boundaries naman po, this could happen between continental and continental, because it could also happen between continental and oceanic, or it could happen between oceanic and oceanic. So ito po nakikita natin sa video na ito ngayon. This is the oceanic and continental. So ito pong nasa left side natin, this is the oceanic crust. While yung nasa right side natin is this is the continental continental plate, and the oceanic plate. Now, kung titingnan po natin kung yung movement nila, the oceanic plate is sinking. As they are moving towards each other, nagbabanggaan sila, si oceanic plate ay papailalim kay continental plate. Why? Again, dahil mas mabigat siya or mas mataas ang kanyang density. Now, as they move towards each other, yung area po na nagrarub between kay oceanic plate at saka kay continental plate, nahihila po ni oceanic plate yung part ng continental plate pababa. And since ayan po, nagkakaroon po siya ng build up, parang natutulak po siya, nagwe-wedge up po siya pataas, and eventually it will form what you call coast ridges or parang bundok na nakikita natin usually malapit doon sa mga coastlines natin. For example, magandang example nito is sa may Sierra Madre, no? Although I'm not sure if this is a coastline ridge, pero it's a nice example, pero it's like a nice observation, ano, na parang pwede nating parang maganda na mai-clarify natin to a bit later on. Pero it's a nice observation dahil meron kang tabi ka ng ocean talaga, tapos meron kang mga peninsulas kahit papaano dito, and meron silang ridges or meron talaga tayong bundok sa tabi ng dagat, yang sa may bandang Quezon at saka Quezon, Infanta, all the way hanggang Paler, Aurora, no? Kabundukan yan. Okay. Okay, so this is one of the examples ng convergent plate boundaries. So another example ng convergent plate boundaries kasi is what you call the oceanic to oceanic. Now, mayroong kasi pag magbabanggaan po kasi ang ating oceanic crusts, pababa po ang movement nila. Kung dito po papailalim sa oceanic crust tapos papaibabaw si continental, sila po ang movement nila is downward. So ang magiging itsura niya po is parang pa ganito po, parang pa letter M, or meron po silang movement pa downward. Pero except that hindi po pare-parehas kasi ng density ang kada oceanic plates natin. So ibig sabihin po magkakaroon pa rin po tayo ng paglubog or pagpapailalim ng isang oceanic plate. Kung depende na lang kung sino yung mas mataas ang kanyang density. So again, ang for ano lang po ha, for clarification, ang tawag po natin dito sa movement na to or yung pagbaba ng move nung mas dense na plate, ang tawag po natin diyan ay subduction. So meron po tayong subduction na nangyayari between oceanic and continental, and oceanic to oceanic is meron pa rin po subduction. Depende na lang kung sino yung mas mataas ang density. Then transform boundaries, these are the type of um, movement na hindi naman sila nagge-generate ng mountains or ng underwater volcanoes, pero they just slide past each other. And this is one of the nicest video na nakikita talaga natin, na-observe natin yung transform plate boundaries. Kung papansinin natin yung naging movement nung or kung paano talaga nag-shift yung environment do sa labas ng fence. This is an example of transform boundaries. Okay, so we have the three boundaries. Yung ating divergent plate boundaries, it creates oceanic ridges or volcano arcs na usually nakikita natin sa ilalim ng dagat. Convergent boundaries, it creates volcanoes as well as mountains, no? And last, itong transform boundaries, they don't really produce anything rather than earthquakes. Pero lahat po sila nagpo-produce ng earthquakes, no? And last is kung paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng volcanoes. Yung isa po is through convergent boundaries. Okay, so this is the video. So again, katulad po siya ng kanina, the oceanic plate, um, meron po tayong locked zone or yung parang friction zone between the oceanic and the continental plates. Nagkakaroon po tayo ng pagwe-wedge. Okay. Ayan. Okay. So it's the same video pero why did I put this in the hot spots in subduction or paano nga ba nakakabuo ito ng volcano? So, siguro mabilisan na lang. Um, Basa kasi yung upper part ng continental plate, no? And once nagkakaroon tayo ng subduction, it also brings that water while it's moving under the continental plates. And that actually helps it helps the heat it helps melt rocks faster. Kumbaga mainit na diyan sa lugar na 'yan, eh, tapos medyo if we introduce water, it just accelerates the melting. So nagkakaroon po tayo ng parang isolated na mga magma chambers diyan during the convergent boundaries. And the other one naman is yung tinatawag natin kasing hotspots, no? So the hotspots, hindi po siya tulad sa cellphone. Itong hotspots po is due to the convection. So again, meron tayong movement dito sa outer core natin at saka sa mantle natin. Meron tayong upward movement. Now, if this upward movement is focused on one spot, katulad po nitong sabihin natin, nasa gitna ka ng continental crust, pero may vulkan, ayan, dito po tayo nagkakaroon ng volcanic hotspot. Okay, so again, itong convergent boundaries po, this happens between oceanic and continental plates. And kaya this also forms volcanoes. Kaya kung papansin po natin, yung mga areas na malapit po doon sa mga boundaries natin or plate boundaries natin, they have a lot of volcanoes. Pero bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng volcano in the middle of the continent, even though malayo ka pala sa plate boundary? It's because of the hotspot. Okay, so that ends our lesson for or this topic for today. I hope na may matutunan kayo. You get to keep the QR code or the link. Ano, hindi ko naman naka-set naman 'yan to viewing lang, no? So, sana makatulong 'yan para sa inyong pag-review. So, thank you and have a wonderful day.